Hello and welcome to another episode of me, yours truly, Mr. Munro. In fact, I actually got into an Uber recently. I got into a taxi recently because Uber doesn't operate around here anymore. That's how out of touch this country is. And the guy actually asked, is that my real name? And yeah, it is. It is my real name. I had that through college as well. People thought it was a fake name, but no, my real name is Jake Munro. It's not a character name or anything. I was just that lucky. So today I'm going to be talking about my top inspirations, my biggest inspirations in life that helped me to be who I am, who helped me to be confident and look past what others may think, to experiment with makeup and music and life. And while a lot of these things are inspirations, a lot of the things I do because of the very person that I am. I am dangerously spontaneous, which has led to some sticky situations throughout my life. But also, you know, I've gotten what I want, so that's great. So I'm going to talk about the obvious ones first, and then the not so obvious ones will continue on, which I think will keep the video interesting, don't you think? So top on my list is obviously Kyo from Dir En Grey. Kyo from day one was a massive inspiration on me. Up until discovering Kyo in the obscure music video in college, in my first year of college, all I was really wearing was just black eyeliner and black eyeshadow and, you know, black clothing. I was a little bit lost. I didn't really know what I was doing because I couldn't wear makeup in school, and I only had a summer before I went to college to really experiment, which I didn't because I was trying to hang out with my friends and they didn't like it when I wore makeup, so I decided to ditch my friends. And then I went to college, and there was no guys there wearing makeup either. But then I saw Dir En Grey. Dir En Grey to me is what I think Marilyn Manson is to a lot of other people. So like a lot of goth kids got into Manson and started wearing, you know, makeup and extreme clothing and doing all that sort of body paint and stuff because of Manson. But I didn't like Manson. I just didn't connect with him. I didn't feel that connection. I was not a big fan of the music. The music just was a massive turn-off for me. And then the obscure music video by Dir En Grey comes on YouTube in 2006, and I was just hooked from that day on. And then I became obsessed. I became a weeaboo that was just obsessed with everything. I indulged in every aspect of all of the fake cutesy story. But I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's a bit of a, in fact, this could be a wide thing. This could be like an all fandom thing. In fact, I think it might be a K-pop thing as well, because obsessions with J-rock bands was the OG K-pop obsession. Way before K-pop became a Gen Z obsession. Millennials had the same obsession with J-rock. You'll think you're so special with the K-pop. You don't know, but you'd go onto these websites, these websites that were dedicated to fabricating these cutesy fake stories that just fed into this stanny obsession with these musicians, and most of them were completely false, like they weren't real. And you realize that all of this information, it would be impossible for anyone to know this unless the artists themselves were putting it out there, which they weren't. But I would go onto these websites and I would obsess, and I would read all this stuff, and then there was the other thing that just fed the fanaticism, which were like these compilation videos on YouTube of all of these J-rock stars being adorable, you know, all dressed up and cute and pretty and attractive, all poking each other and being adorable on music video sets and stuff. In fact, now that I talk about it, I can remember the obsession. And I know there's a bunch of people, some people in the comment section, which will know exactly what I'm talking. You K-pop fans, it's the same thing. Like, you know the way you'll take one little clip, one little GIF, and you'll create an entire fabricated story based on this one GIF or video. Something along the lines of like, oh, you can see the way that he looks at him, that he really fancies him, and they're clearly doing it behind. I mean, come on, everyone knows. But like, none of it's true. You're just making it up because you're just obsessed. Yeah, J-rock was the OG of that. There was no K-pop obsession back then. Do we have a name, by the way, for K-pop fans, like obsessive K-pop fans? Because we have weebs, but that's specifically Japanese. But do we have one for K-pop fans? Leave a comment. Do we? Do we have one? So after I discovered Kyo, I started dressing way out there. I started wearing all sorts of different types of mad clothing. Stuff that was available in the UK. I couldn't get stuff from Japan. The stuff I actually wanted to wear. And when I did, it was way too small for me, even though I was in pretty decent shape. And I just wanted to dress as extreme as I possibly could. And my point of inspiration, or at least one of them, was Kyo from Dir En Grey, because he didn't give a fuck. Next on my list of inspirations is another J-rock, J-rock, was Miyavi. Love Miyavi. I'm actually dressed like a mixture of Kyo and Miyavi right now. The ponytail with the hat thing, that's Miyavi. That is when I got into Miyavi, or as Americans call him, Miyavi. Gross, right? There's a couple of Americans having a go at me or making fun of the way I say Adidas. That's how you say it. It's a German company, and it's pronounced Adidas. One of the first comments I got on that punk rave video was like, ugh, the way he pronounces Adidas. Ew. You're the one that says Adidas. That's wrong. Look, let me show you. Let me show you that I'm right and you're wrong.
Adidas. Adidas.
See? So shut up. It's Adidas. You're wrong. Anyway, I got into Miyavi in 2007. I think I discovered him around the same time I was listening to Dir En Grey. I was going through a lot of J-rock, going through finding out which ones all sounded the same and which ones stood out to me. And there was a few that stood out, one of them being Miyavi. He did like metal, he did rock, he did pop, he did funk, he did acoustic rock, and he did it all so cool, and he was androgynous as hell, which is exactly what I ended up doing eventually. I was doing like a really androgynous look for a couple of years, and his super positive, outgoing personality was just so infectious, and I sort of channeled that. But yeah, he is the exact reason why I shaved the sides of my head, and I've had the sides of my head shaved for about 10 years now. Next up on my list of biggest inspirations of all time is Akira Yamaoka, or the composer for the Silent Hill games, the first 4 and Origins. Now, all of Team Silent honestly are a huge inspiration on me, like Masahiro Ito and stuff like that, especially Masahiro Ito. His monster design is amazing. But I loved Akira Yamaoka's sound design because I feel like the games would not be what they are if it wasn't for the sound design. The game is incredible, but one of the biggest aspects of Akira Yamaoka's inspiration on me is the fact that he had no idea how to compose horror music. He didn't know or have any experience in creating a soundtrack for a horror game. He'd never done it before. So he sat down and he did the best he could, and he came up with one of the most influential soundtracks to a video game ever. In fact, there are still composers to this day who are taking inspiration from Akira for their video games and their movies. His sound design and the weirdness that he created in that studio has transcended decades. It's amazing. And that's what I love. I love the idea of never doing something, but trying it anyway and seeing what happens. And when I write music, that's pretty much what I do. Like whenever I wrote the first album, I had never written anything like that before. I'd never done that. I'd never played a 7-string. I'd never done electronic stuff like that before. I'd never sung like that before. I'd never screamed like that before. But 2 weeks before I recorded my first album, 2 weeks before I recorded that album, I bought a 7-string guitar. I had never played a 7-string guitar before. I just knew I wanted to play one. So I bought one and I recorded the album with it. And my inexperience with the instrument and the genre ended up creating this very unique sound. A sound that was a little too unique, but I'm super happy that I came up with something so original sounding. Now, my first album is not on Spotify because the production values are just so bad, but it is on Bandcamp. And no, I will not link you to it. If you can find it, great, but I don't know. Now, fourth on my list of biggest inspirations in my life is Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX was a huge one for me because I was going through a bit of an identity crisis at the time, and I actually did have one after that, but playing that game and seeing the characters go through their development and the story and the way they interact and the problems that they have and they resolve in the story was super inspirational for me. For the first time as a kid, looking within myself and trying to ascertain who I was as a person. It was sort of like my first ever self-realization moment because a lot of kids are not aware of themselves, which is why they act like complete a lot of the time because they're just not aware of themselves. They're not aware of their actions. They don't know what consequences are. They have no empathy for other people at all. They are complete monsters, which is why teenagers are just such downers. A lot of them are just such nihilists because they just don't understand or have any empathy. Because it's not until you become later on in your teen years that you become self-aware and you learn how to think and empathize with other human beings that you then treat them correctly. This is why kids in school are just so awful to each other. But Final Fantasy IX taught me self-awareness, learning to face your demons and search for the answers to your problems rather than just dwelling on them and festering. If you haven't played Final Fantasy IX, I sincerely suggest that you play that game. Now, it is from 2000. It's super old. In fact, it's older than some of you watching this video. And you may not be used to the graphics because you didn't grow up with them. You know, if the game is older than you, then you're used to next-gen 3D graphics. But the storytelling and the characters are just so beautiful. Anyway, the last big inspiration in my life on my list is me. Yes, I inspire myself. It's kind of hard to explain, but making mistakes and also doing good in life are both inspirational to me. The way I react to things, the way I deal with problems, the way I'm so determined to make sure I get what I want, while at the same time trying to be empathetic towards everyone in my path, so I'm not treading on people to do it. Because some people do that. Some people, they see what they want, they will step on people to get it. They will put other people down, they'll drag other people underneath them so that they can get up and get what they want. I try to be respectful. I try and make sure that people feel appreciated and respected for any of their contributions, because I know what it's like to not be appreciated. When you put a lot of effort into a friendship, or you put a lot of effort into teaching someone how to do something, and they don't appreciate you in any way. They don't respect you. They treat you like crap, like you're expendable. I know how that feels. So I try to make sure that I do not make anyone else feel like that. I don't like making people feel bad. Unless, of course, you come for me in the comments or in real life, in which case I'm gonna put you down. I do not take disrespect because I don't deserve it. People feel like it's very easy to do that on the internet, you know, because there's no consequences. You can leave a crappy comment under a profile that's not really you, and you can just put that negativity out into the world, and you can leave. You can just step back and but I've never been able to do that. I can't do that. I hate the idea of making people feel bad. Unless, of course, like I said, they come for me first, in which case you're going down. But also my spontaneity. How spontaneous I am, and how I'm not afraid to make decisions. I've very rarely ever been indecisive. In fact, I can't remember a time I've ever been indecisive. In fact, that's one of the traits about other people that I have a little patience for, is people who are indecisive. I can't relate. And it makes me so impatient. I wish I was better at giving advice about this certain topic as well. It's when people say, I want to do this thing, but I'm too afraid to do it. What do I do? If I've ever wanted to do something, I just do it. I didn't know how my brother was going to react. I didn't know how my dad was going to react when I started wearing makeup and started wearing goth clothing, or darker clothing, or alternative clothing, whatever word you want to use for it. I didn't know how my friends were going to react. I didn't know how my college friends were going to react. I didn't know what my potential romantic partners were going to be dressing the way that I dressed. I just knew that that is what I wanted to do, so I did it. I had no indication from anyone about how they would act. In fact, even if they told me that they preferred that I didn't, in fact, some did, I still wouldn't care. Not doing something because you're afraid of what other people might think, I can't relate to it, which is why the best advice I can ever give, really, is just do it. You know, some people do come to me and they ask questions, and they DM me on Instagram and on Twitter, and there's comments in the comment section as well. It's like, I want to do this thing, but this. I want to do this thing, but I'm worried about what people might think. My only one-line answer I can honestly give to that is just do it. I wish I could explain more. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a comment saying, well, you know, I can't do it because this. Look, I've done things that have had big consequences, okay? But I didn't care because I wanted to do that thing because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to move out from my parents' house when I was 15. Did I have anywhere to go? No. Did I initially have anyone to stay with? No. And when I came back, my relationship with my dad and my brother was never the same after that. But I have no regrets because honestly, I don't really value family that much at all. But I know in those 2 years that I moved out and I had my own freedom, that was what was important to me. I just did it. So I sincerely apologize to anyone out there who is afraid of doing something because they're worried about what other people may think. I wish I could give you better help. I wish I could give you better advice, but I've never had that problem. I have just done it because I wanted to do it. And honestly, a lot of people out there who have made it or have a successful career or have, you know, done something extraordinary, whenever people ask them, how did you get the motivation to do that? How did you get from not doing it to doing it? And their answer, you'll find that they'll struggle. You'll find that they'll struggle to explain a significant thought process or some sort of detailed mental plan, because a lot of these people who do amazing things and get amazing things and achieve amazing things is they just do it because they want to do it. They don't care. They just do it. And that is what I've always done. I just do it. I expected this channel to nosedive and completely die after I abandoned a very clean looking, normal style of video that was daily vlogging. I thought moving away from that and then looking like this within the space of a month, within the space of a few weeks, was going to alienate a lot of my viewers and just kill the channel. But I did it anyway because that's what I wanted to do. I went to work in makeup. I went to work with pink dreadlocks and I've worn skirts to work and to nights out because I wanted to wear one. I think honestly it might be a personality type. I think it might be a genetic predisposition for caring what other people think, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible to overcome. So if any of you out there are just like, hey Jake, or hey someone, I want to do this thing, but this, then just listen to the first line of the sentence, which is, I want to do this thing, and just do it. Put your helmet on, get a Nike t-shirt, and just do it. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming to Friday's video. I'll see you guys this Sunday for a stream. I don't think it's going to be a gaming stream, even though over 300 of you did tune in for the stream, and that was super fun. The upload of the video didn't do very well, and neither did the top 5 video about me talking about video games do very well, but I just wanted to see exactly how successful or how badly something like that would do, you know? There you go. Another perfect example. I do mainly fashion and makeup and positivity and motivational stuff on this channel, so it was a bit of a jump to do gaming stuff on here, but I love gaming and I wanted to do it, so I did it. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to abandon my year-long plan of implementing gaming into this channel because, you know, I have bills to pay and a country to move to, so I have to drop it. But I did it anyway. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I had a great day today because I made it a great day, and I will see you this Sunday for a Get Ready With Me video? What do you think? Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.